Hello everyone, it looks like we are live, auction started, we are good. Tonight we're working in pan pastels and colored pencil. I'm going to be drawing this cute little puffin that for some reason my post was locked even though I made it public. I don't know what happened over on Patreon, but you can go download the reference photo for this right now. So before anyone complains, and there's always somebody, before anyone complains about there not being a reference photo on the screen, you can go download the photo and make it any size you like and put it anywhere on your screen you like. So you can go get that, Lachri, or sorry, that one's patreon.com/Lachri. The direct link is in the video description, and if it was locked for you when you tried to get it last time, it's because apparently me or Patreon, something went wrong. It's fixed now, or should be. We've already got a super chat for the boys. What do you guys think? You want a super chat? Thank you so much, Kirsten. There we go. You starting off good? You lucky boys, huh? Say thank you. I need to fix it better so they're on screen more when they get the super chats. This doesn't work quite as I had anticipated when I set it up. Okay, that's it. Go lay down. Go lay down. Down, down, down. What? Slowest race dogs ever. Gibson, down. Okay, so whoops. Sorry about that. So anyway, tonight, I don't know how that's been defaulting lately that way. I think something got reset every time I switch cameras, that starts playing again. But anyway, tonight this is being done on MeWe. I'm using black paper. You can use dark gray. You can use anything you want. It doesn't really matter. And I've traced everything out for my main image. And then you can also download the line drawing too, if that makes it easier for you. That is also over at patreon.com/Lachri. Again, direct link in the video description. And I use tracing or transfer paper to transfer that image onto my paper. Now this is available if you're in the US. This is available for you to bid on. The starting bid is $70. Link is in the video description. And whoever wins will also, this will come already matted. This looks terrible because the lighting, but it's a nice black matte. This is way washed out right now. We'll see how this color goes as I start working. I'm gonna probably have to make some adjustments to that, as usual, to the lighting. Let's see. Oops, close that. YouTube is determined to make me play ads for you guys when live. I don't like there to be ads when it's live. Yeah, I miss out on a lot of money because of that, but I don't want to watch a live stream. I mean, I have YouTube Premium, so I don't watch ads anyway, but I don't pay for cable internet or cable internet. I have cable, but I don't have internet, cable TV. So I pay for YouTube Premium. But anyway, I strongly recommend it, by the way. Oh my gosh, life is so, like, I can watch videos now without worrying about if it's gonna have an annoying ad. Like, am I even gonna like it? I don't wanna sit through an ad to find out. Oh my gosh, I've had it for a few years now. It's wonderful. Okay, I can't see myself ever wanting to go back. Like, I would go into shock if I had to see ads on YouTube. But anyway, YouTube's trying to make me play them for you, and I don't want to. Moving on, let's get started on this. So this is MeWe. This is on the smooth side. Pan pastels, they stick really, really well. There's almost an oily, I don't want to call it oily, but kind of clay. I don't know what the ingredients are. All I know is it sticks really well. So I can get away with doing this on the smooth side. For the first, years, I was using pan pastels. I kept using it on the rough side of paper because that's usually what you would do with pastels. Doesn't need it. Stuff's amazing. Okay, I'm going to be using my soft tools to apply my pigment to the paper, and I can go with this one. You can see it's already dirty. I can just reuse that one. And I'm going with like a dark navy and black blue type color. So I'm going to be mixing, do I want to do ultramarine or phthalo? Heck, we'll do both. I'm going to be mixing both of my blues and black, and I just mix directly, as you can see, in my pans. I don't care if it's messy. It's totally fine. And I'm just going to go right over that. And I want a dark background anyway, so I don't like, this is why black paper just makes it easier. Now, if you look at the reference photo, there's out of focus, bush, grass, something here. I'm just going to have the whole puffin fade out there. Plus, if we go back to the matte size here, you can see that a lot of that's going to get cut off. I always make my paper a little bit larger than what it's going to be when matted. And so again, I'm just mixing my two blues because I couldn't decide which one I wanted, and they both look like they'd be pretty. And slopping that in there. I don't care about my brush strokes or any of that just yet. I can smooth all that out later. I'm going to reload this. I want to make sure I go all the way up to the Puffin. I would rather overlap him a little bit than not quite cover it and have like an outline of the black. And this is definitely going to need to be changed. Now that I've got some color on there, let me go ahead and adjust, because that part is fine. Oh, I'm on the wrong camera, that's why. There we go. Exposure is probably, whoa, too dark. Too much. It's pretty close. You can see what I mean. That was a big difference. Yeah, that is pretty close there. Okay. And we're going to go again right up to the beak. Now you could just leave the background black. That would actually work fine with this too. But I want color, because I think that just hint of blue is going to look really pretty with the bright orangey red beak. And I'm going to go darker black as I get out to the outer edges. And let that fade in. You know, Nick said, why do I have this persistent feeling that I've forgotten something? I am feeling it too. There must be something in the air. Although I'm pretty sure I feel it every single time I start a live stream, but I am absolutely feeling it. Is Leo outside? Is that what you're forgetting? Okay, now I'm going to smooth that out. So to smooth that, I am going to use the Pan Pastel Colorless Blender. Now this is not something you have to have, and I didn't use it for years when working with the Pan Pastels. And when I first started using it, I was like, I really don't see the point. That blends fine without, so that point being you don't need it. But what I did discover, the more I started playing with it, this will make this blend really smooth without me having to continuously add more Pan Pastels. So using this means I save my pastels a lot, and it gets like this beautiful smooth background. I'm going to start with a lighter area. Just go over that. Let that blend in. I'm going to put a little bit more blue because I blended a little too much black, so it's getting really gray in there. But I'm going to put this down first. But see how it smooths out those brush strokes so nicely. Actually, a larger sponge would work easier there, but whatever. No one said I make good choices. And I can put the blue that I want back right on top of this. This is graying it up just a bit. Now, if you are new to Pan Pastels, it can be overwhelming if you look at all the colors available. I saw someone post earlier today, it was like $300 and something. If you get all, I guess there's 80 different colors you can get. You do not need all 80. I've got the set of 20, and it's great. I'm able to mix what I need from there. I'm not saying it wouldn't be nice to have the 80. When I saw that it was 300, I was like, ooh, maybe I'll save up for that. But that's actually a little less than I thought it would have been. But you don't need that. The set of 20, I've been very, very happy with. And you can just get a few individual colors one at a time and add to that as you want. Just smoothing that. Now I'm going to pull some of that blue right back on top of this. And I'm not going to mix the black in. I'm going to let it mix with what's already there. Oh, that looks pretty. Look how that stands out so nicely. It blends nice and soft because I've already got the colorless blender on there. That kind of made it gray. Get a bit more. I'm still mixing my ultramarine and phthalo blue. And I'd rather this overlap a little bit than not quite go up to the Puffin. We don't want a dark outline. The other thing that's great with the Pan Pastels, they last forever. I don't even know how many years I've had my set, and the only color that I'm getting kind of low on, where I'm like, oh, next time I make an order for art supplies, I should probably get one, is the white. And even that, like it's still got a ways to go. They really do last a very, very long time. There we go. Okay. A little bit more, blending that out. And actually, I keep looking at the screen because the screen makes the strokes even more obvious than it is in person. They don't stand out that much in person at all, just the way the light and the camera is hitting. Okay, so now I'm going to start with a Puffin. So being that I've already got the dark colors here, I'll keep this sponge for that, but I'm going to switch over. Oh, and this actually works well. So this color I've used on whatever my last project was, and it has a bit of a tan brown color in it. That's perfect because this here, if you look at our reference photo, again, patreon.com/Lachri, you can go download that if you tried earlier and it didn't work. I fixed the problem, I hope. This is not a white. It's tan, and if I included the color swatch if I did my job right, where you can see the colors in this guy. This is not white. I'll use white mixed in with the tan, but it's not really white. So, and I'm going to go a little bit darker than what I want that end result to be because I'm going to use my colored pencils later to pull out some more highlights. Okay, so we've got some white. I'm going to use, what is this? What one is that? Raw umber. I just need a tan color. Oops, there's blue in it. Hold on. There's the blue in my white. I need to wipe this out. Way too much blue there. Okay, let's do that again. See, it looks white. It's funny. I want to show you on this. This color, look how bright that looks there. That is that brown. Look how, and it's actually darker, a lot darker in person. Wait, can I make you see that? Which one was it? This one. It still looks too light there, but it's really dark. When I go on the paper, it almost looks white. I'm just going to use straight brown then, and we'll add white highlights on top as needed. Remember, whenever you're painting or drawing something, white is never really white. It's going to pick up all the colors around it. One of the things that I liked so much about this photo, and one of the reasons I don't often do things with penguins or puffins or anything like the black and white, most photographers do not get good shots of them, and they look flat. Everything's flat. Same thing with pandas. So adorable. There aren't a lot of really good royalty-free reference photos. The photographers have a tendency to overexpose the white, and it just looks so flat. Make sure when you're looking for photos, if you look at this photo, look at how dark this side over here. We're going to go into, actually, we'll switch. Ooh, that has a lot of, I need to clean the brush. Hold on, or put a new top on it. That was really dirty. Put a new cover on, and these are just little covers that you switch out. So I'm going to slide that onto there. This is going to be the same blue from the background, but with more white. So I'll be using some ultramarine blue, some phthalo blue, and white. And I'll clean up that edge when I go on top with my pencils. And I'm going to pull some of that same blue right in here on the inside. Again, a lot of that's going to be fixed with pencils. Okay. That's probably fine. The eye I'll do with pencils, so I'm not worried about that. And let's do the black. So the black, this here, if you look at the color swatch that I included in the reference photo, this color is the top color swatch. It's just brown. I'm going to do a little bit of my blue mixed with the brown, but it is really light. And one of the problems that a lot of people have when they're blending or they're trying to put highlights on an animal that, or a person that has black hair, is they think the highlight should be white. Well, the problem is if that's what you do on a subject that has that with black, it just looks like gray hair. You just aged that subject. This isn't. This is brown. And I want even more brown than what I have. So I'm going to mix my red iron oxide with some black because that gives me a nice brown. Mix those two. I'm going to pull some of that in here so it's a bit more rich. Oop, too rich. Let's grab that raw umber and we'll mix those together. And we've got a little bit of that highlight on the shoulder here, and then this is all going to fade out. We've got a little bit of the wing. You're not going to see that on the thing. Okay. And I'm going to pull some blue. Actually, let's just get some ultramarine and phthalo blue. We're just going to put a little bit right in here. And I'm going to let that fade up. And the blue is going to fade into that brown on this side. See, look, there's not even that much black that we're going to leave showing there. A lot of the blue. And while I've got the blue, let's get white, ultramarine blue, phthalo blue. I want to make sure that looks like it goes up and isn't just a small point. Got a little thicker there. And that is too light, so we're going to add some more blue. Both of my blues. Go right over that. There we go. Wade, stop. And now we need to go back to the black. So I'll grab the brush that I used to do the background with. And I'm just going to add a little in a couple of spots, and I'll let that blend in with what's there. And I'm just going to let that blend into the background. See how I want it to be soft, because that's going to fade out into the matte anyway. And then let's soften this. I want to mix a little bit of blue in with my black. Make it a little bit deeper, darker here. Wade, would you please stop smacking your lips over there? Because that's really annoying. Okay. Now we've got, let's see. So this has black on it, or blue. I'm going to use this side and go ahead and add the black for this area here. Actually, let's switch back to the black for where it fades out. That's actually going to be very gray. I'm going to take a little bit of actual gray there. Okay, we're going to leave that alone, and I'm going to flip this over. So this side has so much blue. If I switch to oranges, it's just going to make a muddy mess. I'm going to flip it over so the clean side is down. And now I can use that for my oranges. And I'll start with the yellow. The yellow is going to be white. I'm going to use a bit of that, oh, what is that yellow? It's the Dairy Lid yellow that I say isn't a real name. Dairy Light yellow. I don't know how to say it. It wasn't a real word to me until the Pan Pastels. But I'm going to mix a little bit of brown, a little bit of yellow, and a little bit of white to get this cream color. Now this is going to be a little bit messy. That's okay. We're going to fix that with the pencils. And let's see, a little line there. And now, so I started with the yellow because yellow, I can easily go from this lighter yellow color to oranges and reds. If I started with orange and red, it would be very hard to get this clean enough to get the yellow, the color that I wanted. And next we have, I'm going to mix my red with orange. I need more of the red. It's a little bit too orangey. A lot of the detail there is going to have to be fixed with the pencils because it's just too small. That's probably, oh, we need the little lumpy guy right here. Okay, The rest of this can be done with colored pencils. So what I'm going to do first is take my Spectrafix, there we go, which I have in a fine mist sprayer. First, I'm going to cover my Pastels. Actually, I take it back. First, I'm going to smooth this because it's a little bit harsh. I want some, do we have blue? Yeah. Let's soften that transition just a bit. There we go. Now I am going to cover the Pastels because I don't want the Spectrafix getting in there, and I'm going to lightly mist this. I'm going to do a couple of coats on this. Okay, now I can put the Pastels away and grab my colored pencils. Actually, I am now going to go ahead and put the reference, actually, do I have it? Oh, I don't think I downloaded the reference photo. Maybe not, maybe I lied. Okay, let's put these away. Knock stuff down. Let's choose some colors over here. So let's see. I'll just keep all the pencils out. I brought out my Light Fast and the Polychromos. I might have to get up and grab some Caran d'Ache if I don't have colors that I want. Where's my drawing? Grab those. Okay. And some tea. Where do we want to start? Oh, I should start with some glassine. Let's grab some of that. There, maybe that's what I thought I was forgetting. So glassine, it's an acid-free paper that it's kind of like wax paper, but not. This is actually acid-free. I don't even know what they use in wax paper, but it looks the same. And it's going to help me not have my hand smudge the artwork, and it keeps the oils from my skin off the artwork. I also use this when I ship things. So like if I've got an acrylic painting where I want to put a piece of cardboard to keep it nice and like make sure there's no dents in it, when I ship, I will put a piece of glassine before the cardboard because the glassine is acid-free, cardboard is not. So it doesn't matter if this touches my work. I also use the glassine in sheets. So I've got boxes of artwork where they're just all stacked up and I put a piece of glassine in between each one. Long term, it could stay that way for years. It's not going to be a problem. Whereas let's say you use cardboard in between each piece. If you're using something that's not acid-free, it can actually start causing discoloration and issues with the artwork getting messed up. So that is why we want to use that. And the other bonus with this, you could use like an acid-free paper in between each. It's better than nothing, but sometimes with that, when you move it, like it'll like pastel or something will stick to the back side of this or colored pencil, and you move the paper and you get a mark on the work. So nothing really sticks to this, so it's a much better way to go. Okay, let's see. We're now going to need some light blues. I'm going to probably go with my Polychromos for a lot of this. I'm going to pull out, I've got my Ultramarine, Helio Blue Reddish, mostly because that one's really sharp. Sometimes I choose things just because I'm lazy. We're going to need white for sure, but I don't want it to be too white, so I'm going to go with the Polychromos again because it is a lighter shade. I guess I could use this for my pencil shavings. I actually put a trash can in here finally. We're definitely going to be needing black. Do I not have? Oh, good, I do. We'll need some of the brown. This one is burnt umber. What else am I going to need? We've got to do the reds, and I'm going to go with the Derwent Light Fast with this because I think it's going to stand out better. So I've got orange, or flame, sorry, and scarlet. We need a nice cream color there, so we will use champagne, or I will use champagne. You can use whatever you want. And let's see what we get with, oh, I'm going to need a grayish tone as well. This one is Warm Gray 4. Sure, that'll work. And actually, I do want my thing to put my shavings in, otherwise I'm going to be bending over every time I have to sharpen a pencil. I am too out of shape for that. Okay. My handy mason jar that I put all my pencil shavings in. So I'm going to start with the eye. So let's get my red pencils and the cream color one sharpened. I need them really sharp. You don't have to use the exact same colors. Any brown works. Like, it doesn't need to be exact. It's not going to make a big difference. Okay, so let's see if this shows up well. The scarlet, yeah, that's good enough. We've got that little bit of red right on the outer corners there. And we've got a little bit of a highlight right here. And so I'm using champagne for that because it's going to show up a lot better. I'm going to use my brown for the outer underside here of the eye, so it's not completely black. Actually, I'm going to go over that with a little bit of gray. I might need to use white too. No, the gray works. Just a little highlight under there. And I'm also going to need a little white dot. So let's put the white dot first. And now I'm going to use the black, which will go all the way around. It'll clean everything up nicely. This black is super sharp. My Polychromos black is definitely my favorite of all the black pencils I have. And we're just going to pull that shape up. I'm going to have to put some black in there, or some gray in there as well. And then we've got a little black corner right here. Look already how cute his little eye looks. Just cleaning that up. It does not take much. Okay, now I'm going to switch. I don't think this gray is going to be dark enough. No, I'm going to have to use black or the brown for that. Probably use a little bit of both. So I'm going to do the darker brown here. And I'm adding medium pressure. He's got a little cheek. So we're going to poof that up. And I'm going to pull that all the way back. And we'll just let that kind of fade in. We're also going to have, so this section of his face down here, this looks just like gray. It's actually more of a dark, or blackish color. So I'm going to make that a little bit darker on mine there, and then I'll pull that out. When I first saw the photo, I thought that this was just a shadow, and it's actually black. I had to go look up other photos. And we've got a little definition right here. Making little teeny strokes, so it looks like the little feathers. Now I'm going to sharpen that white again. And I just use these little handheld metal comb sharpeners. Actually, that one's comb. Now this is not actually white. Cream would probably be a better color to go with, but I figure it's going to mix in with the gray enough that it'll be fine. So we've got a highlight right here, skip, come back here. I'm going to take my blue. Let's see if this is too light. No, I think that'll work. This is the ultramarine. Right on the inside there. I'm going to pull a little bit more blue right on the outer edge here. We'll pull a little bit under the eye. That's going to fade in more with the the white. And then we get into more grays down here. We're just getting the hint of feathers. This will show up more when I come back through with some more white. Let's see if we look around the beak. There's a little light area right in that corner. And these little details, they seem like they're not a big deal, but they're going to all add up to make it look really realistic. We want to watch, we'll just hit the camera, watch that on your reference photo. Watch these little things that, like when you first glance at it, you don't notice it. Now that's really the big thing with art. What's going to separate someone who's good at realism and someone who wishes they were good at realism. It's how much you notice. It's not like people think it's this weird, crazy hand-eye coordination thing. It's not. What do you notice? Are you noticing where it gets lighter or darker, that it's more brown, that it's more blue? And if you're thinking, well, no, I don't notice those things, so I'm going to be bad at it. No, you can develop that skill. Because trust me, none of us notice this stuff when we first start. But you have to be aware that you're trying to notice things. I think that's the biggest difference. When people think, well, I'll just keep drawing and I'll keep drawing, and that's what's going to make me good. Yeah, it's going to improve, but you need to be aware that you're trying to notice things, that you have, like, that's the trick. The ability to notice things. Notice where it's light. Notice where it's dark. Notice where you want detail to fade out, or maybe you want more detail. I think we have a tendency to oversimplify certain things where if I add more detail, that's what'll make it look more realistic. No. Maybe it's that it's lighter or darker. It's usually your values that are going to make it look more realistic. That's generally the area people struggle with. We've got more right here. And then we've got, again, that was a lot lighter there. I'm making just a bunch of little pencil strokes, just watching the direction that the feathers go in. See how they switch? Now they curve up around that eye, and then here they curve down. If you have any questions, leave those now. I'll be answering those after we finish the artwork. Which I don't think this one's going to take a ton of time tonight. I could be wrong. Not as long as the landscapes have been taking. See how I'm letting that darker gray that I initially put down with the pan pastels, I'm making sure to let that show through. Pull some more of that ultramarine blue right under here. I'm going to have that blue fade around the black right along this area. And then this thing's pretty warm, so we're going to use the brown versus the grays or the blues right on that. Okay, let's go ahead and add the blue over here. I've got to really define this area better. I'm going to use a little bit of white so that stands out more. And he's also got a decent amount of blue over the black. So right in here, let that fade transition in between. I'm not trying to get a bunch of little feather strokes there. I'm just worrying about where the highlights go. And see how my highlights are blue. It's not white. I am almost never going to use white to highlight anything with black because I'm going to use purples and blues normally, or in this case, even here is that brown. It's really subtle here. I think it shows up a bit more on the camera than it does in person, which I'm glad for so you guys can see what I'm doing. Now here, this is supposed to be more gray, so I can go ahead and switch to the white. Make these little guys stick out a bit around the beak. And I'm going to make this way more white right on that transition right in here. Okay, now I'm going to pull black to make a few areas just a bit darker and clean this up too. And then right in here, a little bit darker there, a little bit darker here. And this is where a lot of people have a hard time with white and black when they're painting animals. They think white and black, there's no color. There's so much color. Look how much color is in this. This is going to make it look much more realistic too than trying to keep it just black and white. Okay, let's move on to the beak. So we've got an area around here that comes down. And we've got a highlight right in here that's a lot brighter than what I've got. And right along that edge is brighter. I'll be using the champagne, but just for these really bright areas. So here's the champagne. We'll be going over that. I'll let that fade up to the orange and brown. Okay, let's grab the flame and scarlet. Start with the flame because it's lighter and I can easily darken it with scarlet as needed. But if I start with scarlet, the flame's not going to show up that well. I'm going to lightly go over some of the champagne here on the beak. A little bit up here. Now I'm going to switch over to scarlet and I'm going to push pretty hard here. Darkening this up. Now, if this is not dark enough, I am not using black to shade it. None of the colors I have out would be the brown I could get away with, but I will switch over to a magenta or a purple. In this case, I would go with magenta, and I'm going to need to do that. But if you go with black, you are going to have an ugly, muddy mess. You will not be happy with those results. And be careful too. I see a lot of beginner teachers on YouTube telling people that that's the best color to shade with. Like I saw a video of someone who's actually really popular painting lips, and it was an older video, showing people to use black to shade the red lipstick. First off, it was drawn terrible. Everything about this was terrible. But then like the black, like no. And I'm not like, I know there are some artists who will never use black, and that was, you know, more traditional media. People had this weird thing about black paint. I like black. I use my black pencil. I use black paint. But there are certain things it's not a wise idea for shading. And sometimes I use it for red, but that is not going to be my go-to. For orange and yellow, pretty much never. Doing a little bit of shading with the black. But just be careful because there are a lot of beginners that got into teaching on YouTube, which is great. Anything that gets more people to paint or draw, I am happy for. But sometimes they're giving you advice that can certainly slow you down. Okay, we have dark right on this side of the beak here. I'm going to use my champagne to pull a bright highlight right down this area. Now let me grab a purple. First choice would be my Caran d'Ache Luminance. If I've got purple, it'll probably be the shortest one I have. Oh, we've got Nightshade. Chocolate, that's not even the right place. Merlot, that would actually work. Merlot, I don't know. That works. I'm going to use that to shade. Purple would also work. Now that's not to say, let's say I'm doing a clownfish and something should be darker. You've got this super deep shadow, which there is one in here, that I could use a little bit of black just for the deepest crevice of the shadow, but that's not what you want to like blend and shade with. This is not showing up enough. I need something much darker. Like purple. Where is my purple? There it is. It's probably this super tiny pencil. Yep. Let's grab Nightshade while I'm at it too. Yes, I can use that for the area that's really dark. Again, this guy, if you like him and you would like to own him, you can bid on him. If you're in the US, the starting bid is $70. And that's for the original, not e-print. I'm going to pull that purple up into the upper beak. And then I'm going to switch to Nightshade just for this really couple of deep, deep shadows. And my shadows, my lines are not exact. Close is close enough. This is small, it works. If I'm working bigger, I'm going to go more exact, but with this, it really doesn't need to. I'm also going to use Nightshade for shading this area on that champagne because it had a yellow tint to it. So again, don't want to shade with black if I can avoid that. Black just gives you this dirty, muddy look that you normally don't want. Maybe sometimes. So we've got this super dark shadow right in here. And the cool thing with that, watch your values because look how much brighter it makes this look. And I'm going to use black to clean this bottom edge now. And then this really doesn't need much of anything because that we want to stay soft. I'll just clean that up a little and a little bit right out here. But this I want to just fade out. Okay, this guy's just about done. I hope you have a lot of art questions because my gosh, this was a pretty quick project, but I can sit and fuss over because I do have time. I'm going to fuss over some little details. So I want to pull, oh, I should sharpen that first. Oh, and I'm going to break. Okay, if your pencil sharpener breaks a polychromos, you know the sharpener is no longer sharp. So I don't even need to clean that out. You are trash. I need to change the blade. Also, we've got, Patty says, time for treats for the dogs. Thanks for all your tips. They really help me improve my own artwork. Yay! I'm so happy to hear that. And the boys are happy to hear this part. You guys want a super chat? Yeah, come on, come get your super chat. I'm not messing with you. Gibson, I'm serious. Do you not want one? I guess Gibson's not getting one. I don't think he believes me. He's like, it's been too long. I'm not bringing it to you, lazy sir. You better get over here. Come here. He's looking at me, licking his lips. Gibson, come. Lazy greyhound. There you go. You wondered what living with a greyhound is like? Lazy. That's what it's like. They're the perfect dog for me. Go lay down. Thank you so much, Patty. Lay down. He's like, but you made me get up. Can't I just stay here? Thanks. Oh, my phone almost fell. Thanks again. Okay, back to our Puffin. Oh, he's coming out cute. I like this guy. Okay, so we're just going to fuss over. Oh, yeah, I was looking for a sharpener. There's one on the floor. Hopefully this one works. Yeah, when it comes to pencil sharpeners, certain pencils, if it's breaking with the Prismacolor, that's not a good indication for me that it's a problem with the sharpener. It is more likely to be a problem. Prismacolor is so moody. When it comes to polychromos, if it breaks in a sharpener, I know that blade is bad. It needs to be changed. So that's kind of how a good guideline. The softer the lead, so the higher wax content the pencil is, the more likely it is to break. So I'm not going to be certain it's the sharpener until it breaks a polychromos. If it breaks a polychromos, we're done. Because those are very difficult to break. We're going to start focusing on some of these blues. It's always fun when a project is done early enough. I can really like clean little things up and perfect it. Pulling a little bit of blue into the black areas here. And this looks like it should come down a little bit further. This little poofy cheek on that side was not poofed out enough. Therapy Art for You asked what type of pencil works well for detail over acrylic paint. None of them. Acrylic paint, it's, if you were doing it like on paper and you thinned it down with so much water it was near a watercolor, okay, sure, go ahead and try something. It's plastic. colored pencils don't stick well to plastic. Can it be done? Sure. Should it be done? I wouldn't. I think if I'm going to do mixed media, I want to, it needs to make my life easier. That's why I'm doing mixed media, not for the sake of doing it. And a lot of people, it's because they'll want to do it because acrylics they feel are too difficult to get detail on, like they're having a hard time with that liner brush. No, learn to use your liner brush. The solution to not being able to get good detail with your acrylic paint is not pencils. The solution is learn to use your liner brush. That's what's going to make it work better. The only time I could think that I might personally try that would be if I was working in like a sketchbook. But so the acrylics were super thin down, but like if the sketchbook had gesso on it, now the pencils aren't going to stick super well. So would not recommend. Just get that little bit darker in a couple of these spots. Yeah, that seems to be a common thing. I see this a lot in the beginner acrylic painting groups where people are trying to find and I get it, trust me, I'm not judging you because I did the same thing. I think that's why I'm so like, do it my way about it. Because I spent way too many years trying to find the perfect tool for acrylic painting that was going to give me those fine details. The answer is learn to use the liner brush. That's what's going to do it for you. It is not some magic tool, some paint marker, some like none of those really work. In colored pencil, you're talking about a wax or an oil-based pencil. It doesn't stick real well to plastic. I'm not saying there's not going to be someone out there who made something cool doing that. I'm just saying it's not your best choice. You've got way better options, like learning to use the liner brush. And I get it. That's not the easiest thing to get the hang of, but that's the way it's going to, that's how it works. Okay, so what do I want to poof out a little, make it a little closer to the viewer? That's what I'm looking at right now. I'm pulling those highlights. And I'm kind of going opposite direction now because I want this a bit more solid. I don't want it that scratchy looking. Lighten up that area a bit. Now, anywhere I'm putting this white over black, I know that's going to give me a grayish tone, so that's intentional. But if you want it to look highlighty and not gray, go to your blue. That came out way too light. Let's put gray over it, and then I'm going to take a little bit of my red. Let's let you fade a bit. We are just about done with this guy. A few little individual hairs here around the head. And pull a little bit with the black as well. Just a few. To get the hint of those feathers in there. What did I miss? Oh, Nick is on top of stuff. He's already sending me the live stream questions. Not that he's not usually on top of stuff. Okay, let's get few more highlights in here, not too many, just gonna get a little hint. These would really be more with the oranges and browns. So we'll pull some of that in there. This is gonna give me a muddy look, but because it's orange over black, but that's actually good for this. Oh, I like that. Let's pull a little bit back here so we've got a little bit of a warmer glow on the back of the head where the sun is hitting. Yeah, I think that's about it. He is super cute. I want to pull this shadow up just a bit more right in here. Okay, let me show you what he will look like. I'm going to pull this back a bit with the matte, and that also is how I've got to determine where to sign this. And here we go. So when the matte goes on there, I need to put that there so I know what that will look like. Oh, how cute is he? He is going to look good in someone's home. And I'm going to sign at this bottom corner. And it's super subtle, super light. I can actually put a little bit more highlight to make it stand out a bit more, but I don't want it to stand out too much, so I'm barely adding pressure with this pencil. There we go. There is the finished project. And again, it'll look like this one matted. It looks so good matted. That black matte looks so good on this. I'm actually excited. If he doesn't sell, he may end up on my wall. That looks good. Let me show you on this one. So the color is always going to be a bit more accurate. I'm going to move this because I don't want to smudge it. But there we go. There is the finished Puffin. And of course, with the matte, I'll just gently set that there. That is what he's going about, where that'll be positioned, what he looks like. So somebody is going to be very happy, whoever wins that. Let's see, does he even have any bids yet? I don't think he does. So the starting bid is $70 if you want the original. Pan Pastels all over my hand now. Where's my website? Let's find out, and I want to keep this open anyway so I can keep an eye on it. Oh, nope, that's not the button. Yep, no bids. You've got 1 hour to bid, 1 hour, 5 minutes, and 30 seconds to bid if you want to own him for $70 if you're in the US. Okay. He's one of my better ones too. Yeah, Nick said no bids for some inexplicable reason. Yeah, he's one that I'm like, I mean, I like all the stuff that I do. Like, I'm usually pretty excited about it, but I have some occasionally where I'm like, ooh, that needs to go on my wall. Like, if that doesn't sell, if I put him on my website, he'll end up, like, if I were to sell it not on auction, $250 easy. Like that, like I would not list it for less than that. This one definitely could go for that. So if you are interested in him, now is the time to get that. Okay, let's answer your art questions. Please send more because otherwise we are going to be staring at each other awkwardly. Well, I can go get French Fry if you guys want to see him. I can bring him in a bit. Let's see. Discord. Send more questions. Okay. Jen said, wow question, so World of Warcraft question for Lisa. Are you excited for the War Within launch? What class is your main? My main is always when I played when I raided. This is a World of Warcraft couple short nerd speak. We'll get over it in a quick thing. My main was always I was a holy priest, and I don't raid anymore, and so I usually play my warlock. I've got two horde warlocks right now on my server because one of them was with Mist of Pandaria, the remix, so that meant it rolled into the new one. So now I have two horde ones and one alliance one, and my priest are like my main. Those are always who I play. For DPS, warlocks hand down is my favorite, and then for healing, holy priest was always my favorite. So anyway, yeah, I'm excited. I haven't played much lately. Like I played, I was really sick after Aquashella, and so I played a lot of the Mist of Pandaria remix. But now that I feel better, I don't know. I've not been into playing much lately. Let's see. Lydia said, have you used any of the Liquitex texture mediums? I have not. Well, they sent me some. I've used it a little bit. There was one. Yeah, I guess I have used a couple of them. I'm not one to paint a lot with texture though. Like it's a cool look, but it's not something I've mastered. It's not something I care to master. Like I prefer painting in realism. And so texture is going to be more of your impressionistic, more abstract. Like I'm not saying it can't be used for realism, but it's not the style that I personally like. Like I've never seen anyone use it for realism. And I thought, wow, I want mine to look like that. So, I don't have a lot of experience with it. She said, if so, were there any pros and cons to using them? I'm looking at the coarse texture medium for acrylic mixed media piece. Yeah, see, so mixed media, I could certainly see using some of those, but I don't have a lot of experience with them. I've used them a few times, but it was never something where I thought, like, you can get cool effects, but it just doesn't fit with the way I paint. So that's why I don't really use it often enough. So I can't like say which ones were good, which ones were bad. I just never really got into using it. So sorry, my back has decided that life is not worth trying to unalive me for. Okay, that didn't make any sense. Let's see. I know I'm no help on that question. I'm sorry. Vicky said, I haven't wanted to pick up my brushes in a while, and after finding your site and watching, I realized that mistakes are okay and how to fix them. I picked up my brushes again. Thank you. Oh, that gave me like actual goosebumps. That is awesome to hear. Like serious goosebumps. I love, love, love hearing that. Yay. Monica, goosebumps just went down my leg. Okay, now it's just getting weird. Like I've got issues. Monica said, hi Lisa, I've seen other artists use brushes to apply the pan pastel instead of the soft tools. Do the brushes work better having more control to apply? I'm new with pan pastels. No, it does not give you more control. You waste a lot of product with it because with the brushes it goes on. Actually, let's do a quick demonstration. We've got time. Let me grab some paper and we'll show you the difference. Let me put some of this stuff away so I've got my pan pastels. Occasionally I'll do a demo though and it doesn't react quite how I expected or intended it to just because the color I chose and I embarrass myself. Hopefully that won't be the case tonight. Okay. Now it's going to depend in part on the brush. Different brushes are going to give you different results. Now I'm not saying you should never use brushes, but I don't like them. Let me grab some tape. Oh, this tape is like melded into itself. Let go. Are you serious? You know what? Screw it. I will steal it from the glassine. Let go of the glassine. Why are you doing this? Okay, let's pull everything back over here. I've got a scratch piece of paper. We're gonna put this right over here. So let's use this lime green because I don't use it very often and it's really pretty. I'm going to need a clean brush to make this demonstration, so let me swap this out. Let's see. 1 second. Okay. So I'm going to use this super bright lime green color. And this is what we get with the brush. It's more green in person, but 2 coats. Like you can get it really thick. But if I use a paintbrush, let me grab a couple of different brushes that I'm not using regularly because I don't want to mess up the ones I'm currently using. Yeah, sure, you'll work. Let's try, I've got 3, oh no, you're not the one I want. I want to use 3 different, like stiffness levels. Is that the word we want? Hold on, I'm looking for something. Sorry for whoever's seeing a screen that's like if you just tuned in and there's a screen with nothing happening. I promise we're gonna have something happen. I'm just looking for a paintbrush right now. We've got these 2. I know I've got a softer one over here somewhere. I want a really, really soft one that I don't use often for painting. To give you an idea, this will work. It's kind of big, but it'll work. So these are my Taklon. This one is a synthetic hog-haired brush, so it's a little bit more stiff. This one is a Taklon bristle brush. That's camera is skipping, I'm sorry. And then this one is super soft, near like a watercolor, like really soft. So the different type brushes are going to give you different looks. I have to load so much on this to get that brush stroke. See, I don't know if you can see, it's like little dots are falling off. It makes a mess. So as I keep trying to lift, can you see all of the little, you can start seeing it there. It's so much more in person. There's little dots everywhere. I'm making an absolute mess in doing that. So let's use a brush that's a bit more stiff. Same thing, this is making even worse of a mess. Like it is just, the fallout is everywhere. When I use the pan pastel, no fallout at all. And then a really soft brush. and hardly any is showing up on there. And the poof, the powder is, stay off the Puffin. I'm going to not keep doing that because the powder is going it's making a mess, and it's not giving very good results, but it is making an absolute mess of my workspace. So that is why I don't use these. I've tried to make it work. I don't like the results I get. Even for blending, I've tried like, oh, it'll give me a softer blended background. All it did was knock more of the pastel off the paper. So I applied the pan pastels with the soft tool because, as you saw, I got better coverage that way. And let's move you out of the way because I don't want you messing up my Puffin. And because apparently I get to keep him because no one's bid on him yet. $70. Link is in the video description. But if, smooth, huh? Not really. But if I use that to blend a background, I've taken the really soft brush thinking it would soften, smooth everything out and make it super soft, get rid of any brush strokes. It didn't. It just knocked so much color off the paper. So I've never liked the results I get with it. I'm not saying there aren't techniques that it might work, like making soft clouds. There might be scenarios where it would make sense. No, it wouldn't. I can get better results using soft tools and colored pencils than that. So yeah, I don't like it at all. And that, as you saw, is why. And part of it too, for me, I don't like the mess. Like, I really do not like the messes you get with pastels in general. And that was one of the things that held me back from using pan pastels for so long. I thought they were going to be super messy. They're not. They stick so well. As long as you use the right tools. You use a brush and that stuff is just, it's everywhere. It's wasting product, so it's more expensive. I don't know what economy you guys live in. I can't afford to be replacing stuff if I don't have to. And it made a mess all over my easel. Like the bottom of it, it was so easy or messy where everything was falling off. So there we go. Good question though. Like really, like, yay. Look at how much time that ate up because I need any more demonstrations? Let me know. Let's see. So speaking of, oh, thank you, Nick. He even wrote to insert my Patreon plug here. If you like the lesson that we had tonight, the cute little Puffin, or any of my other videos you've seen, I've got long versions of over 400, like so many. There are 400 lessons for as little as $6 a month. You can sign up, you can cancel when, you don't even have to tell me when you want to cancel. You can do it through your account settings. Like, it's super easy. And $6 a month. 400 lessons, new ones all the time, and I have them in multiple mediums. Oil paint, acrylic paint, colored pencil. Most of them, I'd say the most are colored pencil and acrylics, but I've got charcoal, I've got airbrushing, I've got, what else do I have? Graphite, watercolor, like there's tons. There are tons of videos, not that many watercolor. Some digital paintings, I've been doing more of those. So if you've got like a tablet, like an iPad or a Samsung tablet, you can follow along. That's that type of digital. You don't need the big Wacom setup. I have that too, but I've been making the videos on the tablet because I think it's more accessible to more people, and because Wacom is out of control with their pricing. So I don't even recommend them at this point, but mainly because they're ridiculous pricing. But anyway, as little as $4 a month, you could have, or $4, God, what year do I think this is? $6 a month, you get access to all of the videos. Like, I don't separate it. If you pay more, you get more videos. If you pay more, you get more bonus rewards, but like $6. 400 more than 400 lessons. So much. Shut up, Lisa. Move on. Patreon.com/Lachri. Now I'll move on. Eagle, previously Python, said, do you find it better to copy a reference or interpret it? I prefer copying it. It's much more fun and relaxing. Lots of art professors get snobby about copying or whatever. I do both. I think to an extent that you're always doing a bit of an interpretation. When you start doing more stylized stuff, that's where you're getting more interpretive with it. Or if you're mixing, let's say I'm doing a humpback whale. I have never found a good single image of a humpback whale that was royalty free. I always had multiple crappy images and had to make it into one. So that's always going to be an interpretation. Orcas, same thing. I rarely find one where I'm like, I'm going to copy it exact. Like, it's always the lighting is bad, like everything. So there are certain subjects that is always going to be an interpretation, at least for me. But I also really enjoy copying and trying to get it as close as possible, but also accepting the fact that not being exact doesn't mean bad either. Like, I've told this story before, but I remember I had my art in a vet animal hospital over in Frisco. They're not there anymore, but in Frisco, Texas. And she wanted the color. No, wait. She wanted, yeah, I think it was the colored pencil stuff because that's before I was doing more sketchy work. It wasn't as realistic as what I do now with colored pencil. She wanted the art to look like art. She didn't want it to look like she just had photographs of animals on the wall. She wanted that sketchy look, that artsy look. And so you're going, I mean, even if you're trying to make things look, and at the time I was trying to make it look realistic, it just didn't. I wasn't as good with colored pencils at the time. But it's still like a lot of people prefer that in their art. So it's not like it's even bad. You can try to make it look realistic. It doesn't come out perfect. That doesn't mean it's not good. And I think that that's important when you're doing realism and you're copying something, is the understanding of it doesn't have to be exact to be valuable, for somebody to absolutely love it. My goal may be to try to get it as exact as possible to improve my own skills, but I'm also okay that it's not. The more confident that I've gotten, I'm kind of going off on a separate tangent, I know, but the more confident I've gotten with my own painting and drawing and my own interpretation, I guess, of the work, like this Puffin is not exact to the reference photo. He's got more orange in him that I didn't want to pull that much peach in his cheek. I wanted a little bit more white. I've done enough artwork that I'm confident in me making those choices. When I first started painting and drawing, I remember looking at things people did, and I could see the reference photo, and I could see what they came up with, and I loved theirs better than the reference, but it was like, how did they know to do that? Experience. You get more confident, I think, in kind of straying off the reference photo and making it your own and making it better that way. As far as professors being snotty about it not being like copying is bad, copying is how we develop our style too. Like copying, so let's say you want something that is realism, but stylized realism. You get that by copying the realism. You have to learn the realism first so that you know which rules to break, but still have it look like the subject you wanted, but the stylized your way. I think learning to copy is an important part of that process. So it doesn't matter if you're learning to copy and your goal is to forever have it be as realistic as possible. That is valuable. What if your goal is to copy it, but eventually kind of lead off into your own style? That is also valuable. That's the thing with art, and I hate these college professors. Oh God, you're gonna get me going off on another rant about how stupid college art classes are. Like, what a waste of money. You could buy a house for what you pay to go to art college, and it doesn't do you any good. That's a whole other thing I won't rant about right now unless someone asks the question, and then I'll do my rant. But no, these teachers have a tendency to have my way is the only way. It's not. Your preferred style of art is not the only style of art. There are so many different things. Like, I'm not personally a huge fan of abstract. I've seen abstract work that I love, but I think most abstract I've seen, I was just like, meh, not super, like, it's not my favorite. It's not my thing. It doesn't mean it's not valuable. It doesn't mean that it's not going to look amazing in someone's home. Just because one person doesn't love it doesn't mean that it is not valuable. And I think that's what a lot of these teachers miss. They have this, my way is the only way, what I like is the only thing that looks good. And I see this over and over again with colleges where they do whatever friggin' possible to, if an artist goes in wanting realism, it's like they try to undo that as much as possible with those students. I have seen them ruin more artists. It's absolutely ridiculous. But they're so big on it needs to be edgy. It needs to be, okay, well, you thought the toilet sitting in a corner was an edgy statement piece. I don't call that art. So, I don't take them seriously. And a lot of that attitude about copying is bad, copying isn't real art, copying, whether you always copy or whether you end up straying and turning that into something else of your own interpretation, both are valuable. There's no reason not to practice doing both, to find out which way you like and kind of merge into whatever your own style, your own look is going to be. That is a long rant. There is a fungus gnat flying around here. Go get back in my plants where you came from. Let's see. Teresa said, how do you prevent Spectrafix from spitting? Even with the fine mist sprayer, it sometimes mine sometimes does that. Yeah, it absolutely still spits. That's why you want to do multiple light layers, and you saw me do that tonight. I did one light layer. I took a hairdryer to it because I could tell mine was really, I probably need to clean the nozzle on mine. It was starting to spit. I did another light layer. So I don't have any areas that I can see where it spit, but if it does, you just blend over it. Blend it and then spray again, and hopefully that layer doesn't spit on you. Like even with brushandpencil.com, I know somebody commented on this with that. Brush and pencil, when you're using the powder blender and the brush and pencil spray, the texture fixative, that spits like crazy. It just does. There's not a solution to it. It's just the nature of that can in order to get it through. It's what it does. It's not a big deal though. You just, same thing in here. If this spits, you just blend it out. You can blend it with your finger, with a blending tool, whatever, blend it, soften it up, and then respray it. But the lighter, like the farther back you are, the light mist. Don't go heavy. You go heavy, that you're way more likely to have spitting. So very, very light mist. Lily said, speaking of using black instead of other colors in a stormy cloudy sky, what colors would you use? Not black? I would probably, well, I'd be mixing black in with it. For me, I love, like if I have a chance to use indigo in my sky, I'm going to use it. Like I love indigo. Indigo and like black mixed in that, which is really just, I'm just using whatever blues, phthalo blue and ultramarine blue and black, and it comes out kind of indigo. I love that. Although some people I've seen some people list indigo as being more purple. Whatever, but like that deep almost navy blue, a bit more indigo, that color is usually what I'm gonna go with. But yeah, you can use black in clouds. There's no reason not to, unless it's a sunset. Like if the sun is coming through and some of those clouds are hitting with yellow, do not use black in those clouds. That's gonna look really terrible. But like a stormy cloud, yeah, I would personally be using black a lot in that. The black mixed in with the blues to darken those up a lot. Let's see. Yeah, I've watched YouTube videos and they kept using only black and white. You can do that. A lot of those skies are just gray. Like if you did a color matching tool, they are just black and white, just gray. You can absolutely do that. For me, and I've done a lot with just the black and white and it was beautiful. It just depends on the look you want. So there's nothing wrong with using just black there. Lily said, I recently got a horrible mention out of 400, horrible. I'm horrible at reading. Let's try that again. I recently got an honorable mention out of 400 pieces with an acrylic painting. Same painting has won at two other smaller shows. I wish to say thank you. You made the difference. That is so awesome. Oh, goosebumps oh, those are good goosebumps. And down to my knees. Wow, that is awesome. Kristen said, Lisa, hi to French Fry. If we have time, I may bring him in. He's probably falling asleep right now. Patty said, if you use a fixative on charcoal, will it darken the charcoal? I did your leopard and I like the result, but I'm afraid to spray on the fixative. Okay. Spectrafix doesn't, if you put it on super heavy, it will darken a bit. But Spectrafix, the reason that I use that versus anything else over my pastels or over charcoal is it doesn't darken it that much. Like it's minor if it does. A lot of the other sprays I've seen, I mean, it is just like you turn the lights out. Dark. So, but what I would recommend doing, whatever paper you used and whatever charcoals you used, do a quick sample, circle, whatever, on the same, thing separately and practice with the Spectrafix on that just to give you an idea what it's going to look like and if it's going to give you the results you like. But a light mist. If you go super heavy, that is going to darken it. You could do lots of light mist. Why are words hard for me tonight? But, guess it's me. They're always hard. But we actually have t-shirts about that. But yeah, lots of light mists of that should prevent that from getting noticeably darker. Let's see. Kristen said, what do you use to seal your pencils? So Spectrafix. So on this, just Spectrafix. But I don't need to go over. I didn't go over it with the Pan Pastels. So again, if you want to bid, you can bid on this cute puffin. But I don't need to mist this again. I already misted it to seal down the Pan Pastels. I went on top with colored pencil. Colored pencil doesn't need to be sealed at all. The only exceptions are going to be if you use Prismacolor, they will develop a wax bloom. And Prismacolor, I don't know if they still make it. Years ago when I used to use them, they made a spray that was supposed to limit how bad that wax bloom was. And what a wax bloom is a pencil that is super high in wax, like Prismacolor. It can be within a few days, it can be weeks, it can be years. A cloudy surface comes to the top of that pencil, the work, if you have the pencil on there really heavy. And so it starts to, it gets cloudy. You can take a soft cloth and wipe that. It'll smudge a little bit, but that can be one way you can do it. But they did make a spray back years ago. Again, I don't know if they still do because they had sold out and I don't know if the new, whatever. But they had a spray that would minimize it. So that would be a case I would use it. The other case I would use it over pencils, as far as colored pencil goes, I would use the brush and pencil. If I'm using powder blender and brush and pencil products, I'm going to use their final fixative. And then if you're talking graphite you can spray and it can help minimize smudging, but you don't need to either. Like with pastels, I feel it's necessary because they start to fall off. Like over the years, it'll build up on the bottom of your mat. Well, charcoal, feel the same. I think that really needs a spray to make sure it sticks to the paper long term. Graphite doesn't need it. and even if you spray graphite, it can still smudge. You just frame it and put it behind glass is my normal go-to on that. I rarely spray graphite anymore because there is too much possibility of it spitting. You can't fix a spitting, like an area that spit and left a droplet with graphite like you can with charcoal or pan pastels. I can fix those easily. I can't always fix that with graphite. So I have gotten to where I just don't spray my graphite at all anymore. Can you? Sure. Do you need to? I'm not, and sometimes those sprays can yellow over time. Now, they shouldn't, but it's like, if I don't need to do that, and especially graphite that's going to be black and white, where it would be very, very noticeable if something started to yellow, yeah, I'm just not going to do it. Let's see. Cowgirl said, how long does a sharpener usually last? You know, I honestly can't say because I'm always, anytime I order supplies, I just buy more of these because they're usually just a few dollars or less. They're super, super cheap. And so I have so many all over the place that I don't even know how long, like I'm using multiples at the same time. There's no way for me to say, I have no idea. Jeanette said, was wondering why I don't get my pencils to show up as clear as yours when I follow tutorials, even though I use the same pencil brand and same paper. Oh, I didn't even read that right. Was wondering why I don't get my pencils to show up as clear as yours, even when I follow your tutorials, even though I use the same. I'm going to guess that we're adding a different amount of pressure. I'm probably pushing harder than you on that area. Also, like here, I started with the pan pastels first, and so that lightened it up. So the pan pastels are very, very opaque, and they're gonna, when I'm up against black paper, they really, they stand out a lot. And then when I go on top of that with the colored pencil, that gives a nice base. Well, I'm not going up against the black in that case. I'm going up against the orange I did, like in the case of the beak. I'm going up against the orange I already put in with the pan pastel. So my red is going to be very, very red. It's going to stand out a lot. But look at the red over here. That did not stand out nearly as bright as here. I didn't need it to, but I used the same pencil. The difference was I don't have pan pastel under that. So look how much darker that is versus this. So that could be it, or just the amount of pressure that you're using. I'm pushing a lot harder, and I'm making sure to use pencils. Like some reds are not going to be as opaque as other reds, and that's where it's a good idea to have a scratch piece of paper and see which red shows up better for you. See which orange shows up better, and practice how much you have to push to get the results you want before you hit your paper would be my recommendation there. Eagle, previously Python, said, the best example of realism with impasto super thick paint is Rembrandt van Rijn. That's pretty much the only realistic impasto I've seen. I'm not familiar. Jen said, we have a heroic raid on Tuesday, Thursday. If you ever get back into raiding, there's no way. Oh, tempting, but no. I used to take it super seriously, like healing. That was the only class I wanted to play in a raid. But I was always like the top healer. I wanted to top those charts. I would compete. I had friends that were healers, and we would compete. They were different classes, so theirs were more throwing bubbles and stuff. But like I was always had the chart up. Like it was ridiculous. But I spent so much time like farming materials on the off, like I just put way too much time, like it was a job, and I don't have time for a job anymore. I have all the animals and the art and the videos I need to do, and when I started doing YouTube as a job, that's basically when I had to stop with raiding. Like there was no way to do both. Thank you. I do appreciate the invite. I need to add you though. Message me if you can. Jen, because if you do, like if I ever wanted to do dungeons or whatever, maybe. But I don't know if we'll see if I level the healer, but send me a message on something. If you're on Patreon, you can message me on Discord or message lisa@lachri.com. Do that. You can email me if you're not there. Nick said, first time actually catching a live lesson. Welcome, Nick. Let's see. Been watching your art for as long as I can remember having access to YouTube. Yay! Jen said, any tips for how to load and hold your soft tool for pan pastels? I tried them for the first time last week and was struggling to get proper control over the tool. Okay, that's actually a good question. So I hold it very similar, and you've got to figure out what's comfortable for you, but I hold it very similar to how I would with a palette knife when painting. So I'm, like so. I do not like, some people will use, do I have any? Yeah. Some people will use these little teeny like makeup things. The problem with these, you're flat, like it's hard, your fingers end up hitting the paper, whereas with a soft tool, see how it's got the angle? I can be up here above it and my hand's not hitting the paper. So little tip there. But yeah, I'm just kind of gliding it on top So my hand is up here as I work, but it's very similar for me. I mean, I've painted with palette knife for so many years. It's just comfortable enough, so that's how I look at it. But if you've never painted with a palette knife, that is not going to be helpful to you. Practice is then my answer. Practice, try holding it a few different ways too till you're comfortable. Another thing is, don't expect to have too much control with that. You're just doing your base layer there. And then I'm gonna go on top. You can use your pastels if you want. I use colored pencil because I don't like pastels. I like the look, do not like the feel. Use that to get your fine detail. But when you do the initial layers with the pan pastels, don't expect it to be like super in control. Like they're big and kind of blocky. Alara said, have you started Way of Kings yet? Stormlight. I have not. Why do I know that name? I know that name, and I'm screenshotting that. I have not. What is that one from? I know, like, why am I recognizing the name? And my brain is shut down. Brittany said, I keep coming across job listings for various graphic design jobs out there where they require that you have at least a BA in graphic design along with 3 to 5 years experience. That is not a career I would recommend people go. That is a very hard career to make much money in, and I think that is one area where AI is absolutely going to cause a lot of graphic designers are going to struggle because of AI. Because a lot of people now are like, oh, this thing I made with AI is close enough. Like Aquashell is an example, and they have me for free to make their badges. I always made them for them, and I guess they decided it was easier to like not have to ask me and wait for me to get it done. They just went and used AI. Everyone, and Aquashell is big, everyone is using AI for stuff. I would not recommend someone go into graphic design. I'm not saying we're not still going to need graphic designers. I'm saying that is going to be a very, very hard job to get into. So you're going to go into an insane amount of debt to get that BA, and then what? Then you're competing against all the other graphic designers who have been put out of work, and there's just not that much work because so many people are using crappy AI now. Some of the AI is actually pretty good. But whether you like it or not, it is happening, and that is one field that without a doubt is getting hit by AI. I don't know how you compete with, because the average, and this is something that's always been frustrating to me. Let me use this as an example. Lady I knew, she had bred Chinese crested and Italian greyhounds. Don't know if she still does. But she has had me paint one of hers. She had me do a beautiful photo. Painting came out great of one of her Chinese crested. She loved it. And then she had another artist who actually charged more, but her work was not very good. This artist was just not good. Trying to do realism, but like technique was bad. Everything was bad. And the painting was not good. And she liked that just as much as the higher quality painting, because the average person just can't tell the difference. You and I as an artist would look at both of those and go, oh yeah, yours was like night and day. It's like professional versus amateur. And that's really what it was between these two paintings. The person who bought them didn't know she loves them both, which goes to show no matter what style you're painting, somebody's going to love it. But and she shouldn't be allowed, she's allowed to like what she likes. But that's the problem with AI, where people are like, oh, well, a good company's going to know they need a real graphic designer. Sure, but there aren't that many that know that. Most people are like, oh, look what the AI did. This is good enough. That's not to say there's not going to be a place for graphic designers. I'm just saying the competition, I do not think that is a job that makes sense to go into debt to get that degree so that you can then compete with AI. Like, I don't think as fine artists, gallery stuff, what studio art, what we do, I don't think we're going to really get hit with the AI issue, because somebody who wants an original painting is not somebody who wants some AI printed crap. Our target audience, our market is not the same. Graphic design, oh, I don't know how they're going to make it. Like, so many people are going to have to find other jobs because AI is going to kill that profession. So yeah, they may want, and they may want somebody with a BA. Why would you go into debt for a job that is not, and this is the problem with colleges. Oh God, I am going to go off on this rant. They are giving degrees. They are charging $200,000, $300,000 to get a degree, a 4-year degree for art. You're not going to make enough money to make back that college loan. And unless your parents were rich and they paid for it, great, but you're not making that money. Now, yeah, you can do community college, you can do other schools, but it's not, I don't think it's worth it. You aren't going to make enough, and very, very few people are ever going to make enough with their art to be paying back that loan. Can it happen? Sure, but they're not teaching you how to make that happen. That isn't a part of college. They are not teaching you how to turn that degree into money. You can go into teaching and being a professor. There's not that many positions available because all those students who went and got a degree in art, they all are like, oh, I'll be a professor. How many professors of art do you think exist? Not that many. Each college has a a couple, whatever. You're probably going to be the one getting that job. Is it possible? Yes. Is it worth the money? It makes no sense. We're giving loans that people can't pay back, and then they're financially screwed indefinitely. Have fun working at Macy's with that degree. I know, because I know somebody who did that. That's where she worked, at Macy's. Nothing to do with art. Well, she was applying people's makeup. You don't need a degree for that, by the way, with her degree in art, because she couldn't make the money to pay back the loans. It's ridiculous. So I think it's kind of, I get where they're like, yeah, you need a degree to do this job, but the market, I think AI is already taking over that profession. You're always going to need graphic designers. The best of the best are going to want actual graphic designers. Those jobs are going to be very, very hard to find. That is not a guarantee. Businesses don't need it anymore. Too many, especially small businesses, are just going with AI stuff, or somebody who uses AI and just manipulates that. So it's going to get to the point too where even graphic designers, you're still using AI. You're just getting good at using AI and then adjusting it so that it is now something that can be copyrighted because it's not the original. You have to change it. That's the whole thing with the laws. Not worth it. Absolutely not worth it. Where was I? Eagle said, Rembrandt is the leading artist of the realist period. Oh, the art. You're not talking about the, okay. For some reason, I was thinking about the art material. Yeah, okay. Yes. I do know. Brittany said, have not ever seen the spray that was made years ago for the wax bloom that happens with the Prismacolor. What? I'm not reading this right. My brain, I'm apparently done with the night. Have not ever seen the spray. I think that means ever. I think typo just owned you. That was made years ago for the wax bloom that happens with the Prismacolor premieres. Their days. These days, I think that means. I did see it in my high school days. Yeah, they may not make it. I don't know. Teresa, are we going to see a project with Loki? Do a birdie portrait with all your birds together. That would be cute. That would be really cute. Maybe flying on the branch or something. That would be super, super cute. Loki, we're actually considering using Loki when I show you guys the next Squawk Box that comes. I think it comes this Friday, so maybe next week we'll do it. I was considering using Loki, but Loki is still settling in, and he's a spicy chicken. Sometimes he's like super sweet, and sometimes he's like, I'm gonna bite your face. He is hilarious. That is Loki. If you're new here, Loki is, my husband just got an Indian ring neck. Someone was rehoming. He already had an Indian ring neck. He has got a female, but he got this male. Someone was rehoming a couple weeks ago. So he is such a good eater. He loves his veggies. The previous owners said that he didn't eat vegetables. Yeah, you're not doing it right because he loves them here. So it's super, super cute. Yeah, we're thinking about bringing him in for that because he is funny. But I kind of want him to settle in more so I know when I'm about to get bit so I can avoid it. But yeah, that is a really good idea, Teresa. Oh, we have a super chat from Pauline Vandersloot. She said, one last treat for the pups. They're out. Look at Wade's mouth is hanging open. Do you guys want a super chat? Oh, is it serious? I'm not lying. Come on, come get a super chat. Thank you so much, Pauline. Okay, back up so they can see your cute puppy faces, Mom. Thank you. Go lay down. Down. Now you have to lay down. I know, you got a treat. Now you lay down. He's like, you got me up. Give me more. Okay. Gibson, down. Let's see. Joseph said, the Art of Joseph Fincham said, read an article the other day that the guy that designed Fast API couldn't apply for a job doing Fast API because they wanted a 4-year experience on a program language he only invented 1.5 years ago. That sounds about right. That's funny. There are so many stories of companies that know, better companies are learning that college graduates are actually not that useful because they're coming out of college. They've spent their entire life being told what to do by their professors. So they get a job. They don't know what to do. What was this one story? What company was it? What was it? I forget what industry it was. But I think it was just running social media for different companies. And this guy was doing really good with it. And so he hired people and, you know, I want to graduate. You need to have a degree for social media and marketing and whatever. And he'd bring them in, and it was one problem after another. He had so many problems, and it was just constant. Every time he picked up his phone, it was a nightmare. It was taking him more time. He was losing customers because they were screwing stuff. It was a nightmare. He finally, this went on and on and on, and he finally realized he hired, there were some people who did not have a degree in art. I think it was a husband and wife. He hired them. They came out to California, and I wish I could remember which company it was. He came out to California, and he's looking at his phone. He's like, I haven't gotten a message from them. And he starts to panic. He's like, oh, they just burnt everything to the ground, didn't they? So he contacts them. He's like, what's going on? And they're like, everything's good, you know, no problem. So what was happening was the college graduates didn't know how to work for themselves. They didn't know how to figure out a problem. They didn't know how to problem solve at all. Whereas the average person who taught themselves, we know how to fix stuff. We know what to do when something goes wrong. And whether it be for, in this case, it was social media and marketing and that sort of thing, or art, we figure it out. They didn't figure it out. They did not, they did, Kyle. They didn't know how to do anything. They didn't know how to do it. I'm not saying there aren't areas where you should get a degree in art, like a doctor, obviously. And that's a profession that can pay back your student loans. Art, good freaking luck. And especially most of the art that's coming out of these colleges, good luck. Have fun working at Macy's. Or McDonald's. Oh wait, no, they replaced you guys with machines, so not even that. Let's see. Where are we? Brittany said, interior design or a BA degree in graphic design to even get a beginning job in either of these fields. Sure. Are those fields, interior design is different. You're not going to, well, I don't know, people are doing that with AI now too. Like a lot of that is actually happening with AI, so it may hit you guys too. But sure, can't, the graphic design one though, you're not, how are you going to pay back those loans when you can't get a job because AI took over it? Like, think it through. And this is what the colleges aren't doing. They're not having people think it through. They're getting degrees in ridiculous things. They're going in, and then I know people who just keep taking more and more classes because when they graduate or they stop taking classes, that's when they have to start paying back their student loans, I guess. So they just keep taking classes because they know they can't afford to pay back those student loans. And it's like, oh God, the amount that they are racking up in debt is insane. Yeah, kind of crazy. I mean, I'm not, again, there are areas, actually, I think trade schools are a better way to go by a long shot for most things. There are things, you want to be a lawyer, you want to be a doctor, you want to be something that makes a lot of money, go to school. You want to be an accountant, go to school. These are things that have the potential to pay back. Graphic design, not so much anymore. Good luck. And graphic design has been hard for a while because so many people now use Canva or Photoshop and they figure out how to make their own things that they're not hiring graphic designers like they used to. You know, in the late 90s, graphic design was a great thing. That was wonderful if you could get into doing that. Now, good luck. Let's see. I think we are caught up on questions. If you guys need a demo and something, I don't know, what do we want to ramble about now? We got done so fast with this. Yeah, Alara said just go to a trade school. Exactly. For most things, if like you're just looking to make an income and you're not like passionate, I want to be a doctor. Absolutely. Definitely the way to go. I'm trying to think what other things we could chat about. Do we want to move you guys out and bring in French fry? May as well. Let's go get French fry. Hold on 1 second. I will be right back. Come on, you two. You can come out. Come on. Out you go. Oh, there you go. I'm going to get French fry. Move. Oh, I probably should have dragged one of the beds out here. I'm just gonna. Come here, baby. Let go. What's happening? Okay. You can come hang out with us now. Mostly, he's probably just going to go snuggle in behind my hair and you won't even get to see him. Here's baby French fry. Say hi, everybody. We've been working on him stepping up onto my fingers because he's really flighty with hands. So that has been our ongoing thing to work with, is stop flying away from hands. Cute baby bird. So there he is. He is bigger. Teresa said bigger than Nugget. Yeah, French fry is a little bit bigger than Nugget. His beak is a bit wider. Nugget is so tiny. Let's see. Joseph said, having a degree in graphic design myself from 2006, I can vouch for everything. Everything Lisa just said. There we go. I didn't even know you had that, Joseph. It makes sense given your work. Like I can see that you have education there in graphic design. I can see how that relates into your artwork, which is kind of cool. But yeah, you're not getting a job in it. Not him specifically, but people going to school now. Let's see. Nick said he's looking more adulty. He's starting to get more green in his face. He's starting to molt some of his baby feathers, so his face will be much more the color of my nails. A little bit of a brighter green. Is Nugget one of Matt's birds? Yes, Nugget is Matt's parrotlet. We've had Nugget for 6 years. I think he's 6 now. I think Chicken's 8, Nugget's 6. I want to say Sushi's 3 or 4. Loki we just got. He was 4. He came from somebody else, and I think it was April 24th was his birth date or hatch date. But yeah, he's this guy and Tuna, my canary, are my 2, and then the other ones are Matt's. Any art questions to talk about? Look how good you're doing. This is what we've been working on, is sitting on my hand. He's doing so good. I'm so proud of you. It's because you're sleepy, huh? So proud of you. That's where you want, huh? Let's see. Who are all of Lisa's birds? Mine are Tuna, my canary, and French fry, who are best friends. They love each other. And then Matt has a parrotlet Nugget, Chicken, the cockatiel, Sushi, and Loki are both ringnecks. What other pets do I have? I've got, let's see, I've got dart frogs in here. Actually, one of the tadpoles just got big enough to move in with her parents. So tadpole, or actually I'll show you. I can't, I'll probably knock him off. I've got a vivarium over here. I'm going to do a studio tour is one of the next things I'm planning, or next videos. I'm editing one now, and then the one after that is going to be the studio tour, so I'll show you some of the animals then. But I've got a really pretty vivarium with my dart frogs that you hear chirping all the time here. I've got a bunch of their tadpoles are now, I only have 2 tadpoles left. The rest are little froglets growing out. I've got a bearded dragon. We've got a crested gecko. Matt has a hognose snake. I've got a ridiculous, like 80 jumping spiders because mine had babies. The mom, unfortunately, she passed on. I think she made herself too exhausted because she kept having more and more and more eggs. But I've got like 80 of her kids I'm raising, so they're adorable. They're growing up. They're getting big. They're so cute. So I'm super excited about them. But it's like the whole Charlotte's Web sad story all over again. But let's see. I've got a reef tank. I've got an 83-gallon reef tank in the office. I've got a reef tank in here. I've got a reef tank in my bedroom. These are smaller, like support ones for the big tank, but so lots of fish. I can't even list all those. Lots of fish, lots of shrimp, lots of stuff, like lots of hermit crabs, but they're saltwater hermit crabs, not like big hermit crabs, outside ones. I've got to be all stiff so I don't make him fall off. What else do we have? The birds, the frogs. I've got Lucamilla dart frogs. I've got red-eyed tree frogs. I think that's it. And my greyhounds, obviously. Let's see. And it sounds like I live in a hoarding situation, but I'm also kind of neurotic with cleaning stuff, so it's a very clean zoo. Let's see. Is my spider doing well? My jumping spiders are. My tarantula died, unfortunately. I had a hard time getting her to eat from the time I got her. It was super sad. She actually died like the same time as the mom jumping spider. She just was not really hit or miss on eating, and then she got to where she was doing really well eating, but she wouldn't eat the bigger food. She would only eat super tiny food, and then she wouldn't want to eat enough, so she was losing weight slowly, and then she got to where she wouldn't eat at all, but she had like this gunk around. I don't know if she had a parasite, which is possible. I don't know, and there's nothing you can do if they have a parasite. Like there's no vet for tarantulas, so I don't think I'm gonna get another tarantula. That was too sad. Yeah, Bubbles was her name. She passed maybe a month or 2 ago. I couldn't get her to eat nothing. I was buying different types of it, nothing. She just would not eat. So she got, yeah, it's a whole thing. So I was sad, still sad. But my jumping, I think I'm gonna stick with jumping spiders because yeah, they don't typically live that long anyway. And I don't know how long old the tarantula was. We only knew she was already an adult, so she could have just been old age. I have no idea. But with the jumping spiders, they don't live that long, but you can breed them and have, I've got like seriously 80 baby jumping spiders right now, and I'm having a blast with them. So I think I'm going to stick with them because they're so sensitive. And if one of them passes, it's always sad, but it's like, I've got 80 jumping spiders. So it's easier on the emotions for sure with critters that are that sensitive. So same like my cleaner shrimp. Shrimp are super, there's certain animals that are just so sensitive. Oh, and I have a beta. So yeah. That is, yeah, I keep meaning to message you about that, Nick. I needed to tell you about the mom jumping spider and the tarantula. So the mom jumping spider was surprising to me because she was fine one day. But when they have eggs that they're taking care of, they won't leave the nest. And so she wasn't eating much, but she was still doing okay. So yeah, I think she just wore herself out. So yeah, that is the story with them. Did you find unpainted shells for them? So my hermit crabs are they're like this big. They're little ones in the reef tank. They use old shells from snails or whatever they find. I actually have a whole bunch of excess that I keep in there for them, but that's not a problem. Years ago, I had land hermits, and yeah, I had to order unpainted shells online for them. But that's a whole, the land hermit industry should not exist because they're all wild caught, but they're being sold as like kids' toys. And most people don't realize the amount of work. Like, you need sand that is like at least this deep on a hermit crab. And an adult hermit crab, you're going to go even deeper. They need really deep to be able to molt. They don't make it through a lot of the molts. They're ripped out of their original shell to be put into these painted things. They will not intentionally choose a painted shell. The land hermit crab industry is disgusting. And I'm not a PETA person or anything like that, but that industry is freaking disgusting and should not exist. And after, the more you learn about it, it's like, they don't breed them in captivity. I think I read back years ago, I think there was one person that was having success with that. They're normally, though, Brett, just taken off the beaches, and the numbers have dwindled to, like, there aren't any. It's getting bad. Like these beaches that used to be covered in hermits, not anymore. Like they in quickly, but they're just collecting them and they're selling them for, you know, $10 or whatever, and sold in like cages that they don't have proper humidity. Land hermits need salt and fresh water. They need a huge variety of diet for their diet. They need the things that they need are not being provided for them in most cases. And so that is, yeah, that is an industry that I would like to go away. Yep, Tamara, I have seen how they paint them and force them into those shells. Absolutely disgusting. Let's see. I've got, back to the jumping spiders, I actually have to, my latest batch of babies are about ready to be moved into their own. I've been slowly moving some into cups, but they're growing fast. They're so cute. I lost one yesterday when I was doing the cups. One of the cups was empty. One of the holes must have been a little too big, the air holes. And I looked everywhere, couldn't find him. I figured sooner or later he'll show up in my office. He did. Later that day, like 2 hours later, he was just sitting on top of one of the big cup of babies, eating a fruit fly that had escaped. He's just sitting up there nomming on his fruit fly. He ate his bug. So cute. So yeah, I'm a fan of the jumping spiders. Anything else you guys want to talk about? I don't know. Your little nails are sharp on my neck there. I'm used to having a sweater or something, so he sticks better. Let's see. Brittany said, I went to both public 2-year community college and a 2-year technical college, and I have 2 different associate's degrees that I'm trying to use since my current job is not cutting it, I'm guessing. Yeah, that's rough. That is, and you've got to pay those back, and it's hard when the jobs, yeah, it's hard. Tamara said, what is the next project? So I'm working any oil soon. I do need to do some oil soon for sure. And I actually need to contact somebody. I'm supposed to be painting our horse, but the weather's been terrible. I need to go to her ranch and take photos of the horse. But that one will most likely be an oil over acrylic, so we'll see. But the painting, I have to walk all stiff so he doesn't fall since I don't have anything for him to grip too well. This is what I'm currently working on. So this is the background. Let's see how well you can see it. I've got to make the ripped paper doesn't look like, oh, the lighting is terrible. So this is going to be so that it looks like the wallpaper is ripped. And let's see, you can kind of see there it looks like it. The lighting is just absolutely terrible with the glare, so it doesn't look like ripped paper at all in this lighting. I'm not finished with that anyway. But anyway, actually, let's come back here. So this, which side? No, other side. This side is going to have a cardinal kind of coming out and then little glowy lights on the branch. So that is what I am currently working on. If you are a Patreon member, go and check out the latest video that I uploaded. It's just a quick 10-minute video showing how I come up with the design. And that one is, that one shows what the cardinal and everything will look like once I'm done with this. But that is the lesson I'm working on now. And then, yeah, I do need to get an oil painting one for sure. But that one, yeah, the lighting was terrible to really show. But that one will be good too, because even if you don't like the surreal stuff, you can just follow along and do the landscape and the cardinal without the glowy lights. Looks like a normal, just wildlife painting. So you could follow along just with that portion. And I'm going to include that reference photo for that too. So let's see. Therapy Art for You said, I had asked to recommend a good basic Photoshop software. I use Photoshop, so like actual Adobe Photoshop, so I haven't tried out a lot. I think Canva is one people use a lot, but somebody in the comments, or if you guys can answer for Therapy Art for You, because I'm really not sure what everyone's using these days. I use Adobe Photoshop though. It's not free, unfortunately. DJ said, French Fry is doing so well with not flying away now. He's adorable. Well, I had to clip his wings, which I didn't want to, and I'm going to let them grow right back out, but I couldn't train him. We were having such a hard time. Every time I would work with him, he just kept flying. And it's like, I can't work with him if all he's doing is being flighty. He's not mean, he's not biting. That's just what he does. He's excited, and he's a baby, and he wants to go play. And I couldn't train him. And I finally hit the point, I'm like, I'm spending too much time chasing him, and we're not, like, we couldn't even do basic target training because he just would fly. So I did clip his wings, and he still will fly. Like, he can fly like a chicken, so he's not like completely like a brick falling. He can still move, but he can't go up and get into things up high anymore. So yeah, we're gonna let them grow back out. So his next molt, that should be all that's needed. Just getting him used to being handled and not flying away. And so right now what I'm working with him on, if I reach back, he'll probably fly. I'm working on him, like, don't fly away from hands, because if he flies away from hands, I can't teach him to take treats from my hands well, because his instinct is just, well, fly, that's what I do. So yeah, I had to, and that's part of it, why he's progressed so fast, is because I did clip them. So with I know some people get super mad about clipping wings. There's a time and a place for it. My end goal, he will be full. All our birds are full flighted. But when Sushi, the ring neck, the female, she'll occasionally start dive bombing the little birds. That's when she gets clipped. And it's just to slow her down so they have time to get away from her. She can still fly, but it keeps her from being too swift. So, you know, there's a time and a place for it. But yeah, I like when they're all full flighted. So he will be fully flighted, but we need to get over this stage. I need to teach him recall. We're going to be working on that. There's a lot we're going to work with him, but I have to get him used to my hands first. So that is it. Well, thank you so much, Rob, for this. That's a big super chat. He said, miss my boys. I will give you treats for them. Thank you so much. Aw. Let's see. They will be happy. I'll give them back. They'll get 2 treats. Eagle said, are most American universities private? In Canada, all the big universities are public, and what we call college is basically equivalent to American community college. It's all private. Yeah, you pay, like, there are no free colleges here. They are all private, but also government funded, in that we have the way our predatory loans are set up. Yeah, and they are freaking predatory loans. The unsecured loan, guaranteed, like, yeah, there's no other way. The way we have our college and our education system set up, it is too expensive. You're not going, like you used to, like in the 70s, the 60s, you could go to college and work your way through it. You could pay for college the 80s, the 90s. You could pay for college while you were going to college instead of going into a massive debt. But then we decided, the government's like, no, we have a better idea. We're going to do loans that are super predatory. And because they're guaranteed to everyone gets the loan, the colleges then skyrocketed their prices. You can't work your way through it anymore. It's insane. It is a horrible system. Our college system, the whole way that it is set up, is, well, predatory. I know I've said it a million times, because that is the only way to describe it. Like, they're freaking leeches, and they are ruining kids' lives, because 18-year-old out of college does not understand economics, because they don't teach that in school. They don't understand that going into debt for a $300 or $300,000 for an art degree, good luck paying that back. Like, it's terrible. Let's see. Surreal bird in oil, or surreal bald eagle in oils. No pressure. I did just do a bald eagle in acrylics. I did a black and white lesson, but that was acrylics. So you want oils. Let me write that down. Actually, can somebody just message me on Discord that idea? What is the best way to do prints from your artwork? That's from Cowgirl. So I do have a video that shows, that kind of breaks that up more, but the short version of it is DSLR to get a good photo of the art. Like, it needs to be a good photo. And then I take that into Lightroom and adjust it, because no, I am not good enough at photography that I'm going to get a perfect representation of that work. Like, the blues are going to look too purple. There's going to be something, and I can adjust that in Lightroom. And then you can either upload it to a print-on-demand site, like Fine Art America is what I use, or you can use a site like Gclay Today is the other site that I use, where I want stuff like that I bring with me if I do an art show in person. Those Gclay Today is going to be higher quality. Those are amazing, amazing prints. Oh God, they're printed so nicely. I think they look better than the artwork half the time. They look so good. But that is how I do the prints for me. Rob said, can't believe I caught any of this. Where were you? DJ said, yeah, that's what I had to do with my budgie. Yeah, the clipping the wings for training. Is he in your hair hiding? Yeah, parrotlets are, this is what they do. Like, it's a known thing with parrotlets. That's where he wants to be. Normally my hair's in a ponytail and he just gets under the ponytail, but that's like a parrotlet thing, is they go into your hair, and there, you can see his little butt or his tail right there. Oh, did I make you move? But yeah, he's back there. You just turn around. Where's your little face? I'm trying to, oh, there, you're sideways. There he is. He's like, no, put the hair back. I'm nesting in here. Let's see. DJ said after he was trained, they were growing back in. Yeah, and I think depending on how quickly he molts, like if he were to start getting flight feathers in tomorrow, I'd have to clip him one more time. But it should just be like, I just need like a good 6 months with him to work with him, and really get him to, recall is going to be important. I was so sick of having to chase him down. He'd get up on ceiling fans, and I don't mind if they sit up there, but it's like I need to be able to get him back down easily. So it was a lot. Let's see. Eagle said, makes sense to clip the wings. It's not permanent anyways. Exactly. DJ said, I completely agree on training without flight. Yeah, makes life much easier. I tried. I gave him a month, and he just, he was almost getting worse. And I don't know if it's because he spends so much time with my canary, and a canary's natural thing is when you get too close, they fly off. And he's like, oh, I'll do this too. And he learns so much. So cute side story. I put a little water dish up on top of Tuna's cage. They have a little play stand up there that they hang out on during the day. And Tuna got it up there and took a bath in that water versus his normal bird bath. French Fry watches. And immediately when Tuna was done, French Fry gets in and takes a bath too. It was his first little bath. Like, watching him watch another bird and learn from it, it is the cutest thing. But I think he's learning bad habits from Tuna, because a canary's like, he's not trained to sit on my hand. He's a canary. He just flies around, does what he wants. And French Fry's like, oh, so then that's what I do. And so I'm working with him on that. He does hang out every evening. We spend about 2 hours in we call it the chicken room, where the other birds are. And I sit on the floor with them and like hand feed. Nugget likes to be hand fed treats, and he plays peekaboo with me. So he sees me handling the other birds. Nugget's actually getting to where he'll come and sit on me, which is weird. He never did that before, but he's getting more. Basically, he wants me to feed him. But yeah, I was hoping he'd learn more from the other ones, or chicken wanting my attention and constantly, like, chicken nonstop wants to touch my hands. But yeah, he's slow with the flighty thing. So I finally gave in, and maybe 2 weeks ago, finally had to clip his wings. It's like, that's it. We need serious training. Let's see. Oh. Yeah, Tamara said trade school is better and faster. Like, I had a friend who was working for AT&T, and she just learned, she didn't even go to college. She learned through AT&T, and she was making like $85,000 a year. Now, this was back, pre-2020, where people actually had, like, $85,000 was a lot. And like, it was a good job. She didn't go to college. She had no college debt. Like, it was like, there are certainly good ways to make a living without college. Better ways to make a living than with college, because then you don't have the debt. Therapy Art for You said, I went through trade school decades ago. It took me 3 months and about 3,000. I will have that trade for the rest of my life and will support me if needed. Exactly. And there's certain trades like you can go, and I understand wanting to go into art for a living. I get that. But and I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I'm just saying graphic design, you have to go into an insane amount of debt to do it. You learn, let's say studio art. We'll just go with that way because there's no reason for me to have a degree. I can learn on my own and not have that debt, and that $300,000 bought me a house. Like, it just, there's other, which has my studio in it, which my art helps pay for because so many rooms in this house are dedicated just to my work. So tax-wise, I get credit for our deductions because like this room, my master bedroom in this house is straight, just a studio. It's not used as a bedroom at all. I've got 2 offices, really 2.5 offices, half the garage. Like this is all for art storage, art things. So it like that $300,000 that would have gone to school paid for my house, but also my business is helping pay still for the rent of the, to pay, well, not rent, but they pay rent to me. I pay rent to me. I don't know how that works. But yeah, it's like when it comes to, if you're going to go to college, there are so many better ways to make a good, stable living, like a plumber, electrician. Like there are some good ways. My brother went to trade school as a plumber and he makes good money and he doesn't have that college debt. So there are definitely a lot of good ways to go. And then you don't have the stress of like, if you went to school, let's say you went to school to be a graphic designer, there's going to be an insane amount of pressure to try to make, you're expecting to make that money in that career. And that is so hard to do. Versus I can make, like you could make art on your own at home when you get off work from being an electrician, your bills are paid, you're not even having to worry about that, and you can afford all of the art supplies without worrying about it. Like there are a lot of benefits. I'm not saying you shouldn't have a goal of being a full-time artist. That is absolutely a valid way to go too. But you've got to be realistic on how you're going to make that money. And it is not fun. It is very stressful when you don't have the money for the art supplies, when you don't have the money to pay your rent, keep the lights on, pay for the water that you need to rinse your paintbrushes out with. Like there are certainly benefits to working, we'll say a normal job and doing art separately. Like it's not just because you love doing art, there's no reason you can do it both. It can be your second job. You can still make a living or make money doing it, but let that be your second job too. It can be a lot less stressful for many people. Yeah, Tamara said I made 6 figures a year after the trade school. Nice. Brittany said exactly, follow 504 Section 3 under the Americans with Disability Act here in the U.S. I don't know. Oh, that's a response to somebody else. Not all colleges and universities here in the U.S. are private. There are some private colleges and universities that don't take federal funds, like Pell Grants, for example. You do not, let's see, have to. Yeah, nice. Yeah, you've got a few more minutes. I think there's like 1 more minute to bid on the Puffin. Again, here he is. Don't get scared, French fry. Oh, he got scared. Whoop, in front of the thing. So there he is. If you're watching late and nobody bid, you can feel free to message me. If you message me tonight, I will still be willing, well, to the first person who messaged me, to sell it for the $70. After that, I'll go on my website for $250. Or maybe I'll just sell it for $250, whatever. Brittany Daniel said, I never took any loans out to get my associate's degree at all. Nice. That used to be a lot easier before. That is much harder now. Oh, she said there are a lot of trades like fixing cars and welding that I can't do at all because of the fine motor skill issues in my hands and my low muscle tone caused my autism and possibly, where are you, undiagnosed development coordination disorder. Yeah, I'm not going to say it's for everybody. You've got to figure out what works best for you. But yeah, Rob says, I work so I can buy art supplies and comics. I've seen your comic room. You work for those comics too. Yeah, I think we often get in this mindset, we'll wrap this up, but we get in this mindset with art that if you're serious about art, you have to be a full-time professional artist. You can be a part-time artist and not worry about making money on art. That is a valid way to go, and it is a lot less stressful for a lot of people because your bills are paid and you got money for all of that. Like it's not an either or. You can figure out what's going to work best for you, and maybe you start out working as an electrician or whatever, an accountant, whatever you went into, and eventually work up to being a full-time artist. Maybe the skills you learned in one taught you marketing, taught you a business, taught you whatever, but there's nothing to, I think people people look at artists who have a normal full-time job as not being as serious as those who are just nonstop, just art. And that's not necessarily the case at all. There are lots of options to make this work. So yeah, let's see. Lightly said, I also did not take any loans for my associates in art degrees. See, if you can do it without having to take loans, I think then it would be worth it. But these days, God, they're expensive. Okay, so we're going to wrap this up. Check out our moderators' channels. Links are in the video description. What else? Let me know. Leave a comment after this ends. Leave a comment for what you want to see next week. And I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for joining. Thank you for everyone for the super chat. We've got French Fry says good night. He's really, he's like, no, put the hair back. There's French Fry. Say good night, French Fry. I will see you guys next week. Bye.